Been such a pleasant surprise for head coach Matt McMahon and this LSU bunch. Arkansas winning the opening tip. It's Arkansas in white. It's LSU in the familiar purple and gold here at the PMAC. We are underway. A little Tuesday night special for you. Razorbacks in front court. There is Acuff probing, firing, missing, but an offensive rebound. The first one for Nick Pringle, and Pringle banks it home.
Nick Pringle, who started at Alabama, went to South Carolina, now with the Arkansas Razorbacks. Big punch here early.
Talk about a front court that is tough to contend with. Pringle with Brazil and Billy Richmond. McKinnon throws it up top. Into the hands of Tamba. 7 on the shot clock now. This is King. King nowhere to go. Kills the dribble. Shot clock at 1. And that's going to be 0.7 on the clock. So just time now for a catch and fire off the inbounds if you're LSU.
You know, Arkansas is elite in transition, but to get there, they've got to play defense. They're doing that well here early.
There's the catch. Not enough time for that. McKinnon threw it right back to King. And you don't have time with less than a second left to just do anything other than catch and hoist it real quickly. As you look at Matt McMahon, who did such a great job at Murray State. And, you know, we were talking earlier, if Matt didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all. Just a series of injuries during his time at Baton Rouge. This will be another game without their point guard floor general and DJ Thomas. Shot from the corner, misses everything out of the right hand of Billy Richmond.
As well as Jalen Reed, who they lost in early November. So he's lost 2 starters on the year, Mike.
Yeah, it's hard for just about anybody to recover from. And LSU, on top of that, have had some heartbreaking losses. Strong take, but a return to sender by Brazil. Here comes Acuff, floater, missed it. And top floor for the rebound for LSU. That is Pablo Tamba out of Malaga, Spain, the transfer from UC Davis. McKinnon met up top, and Arkansas switching, hedging, and helping on every time he lines up for a potential 3. Off the curl, nothing there, into the corner. Under 5 to shoot. Again, going to be a late clock situation. 3 was halfway down and out. Could not drop for Rashad King. Arkansas quickly on the other end, and both teams off to a chilly start here. McKinnon steps into a 3. He won't miss many of those. Offensive rebound, LSU. Another block for Arkansas. How about 3 blocks? The last one was by Richmond, and it's off of LSU out of bounds.
Love the Mardi Gras magic that we got here early in the PMAC, Mike. Both teams really going hard at it. You know, Arkansas defensively has really been playing extremely well. You see both teams fighting for the ball. Tamba there, King was out of bounds, which is the reason why you've got the Razorbacks with the ball now.
Razorbacks coming into this game 7-3 in the Southeastern Conference. Just 1 loss off the team lead. That is Florida, and that is an and 1 for Darius Acuff, the freshman out of Detroit, Michigan, who is just so talented fish. He's got every shot in his bag. Yeah,
he really does. And Darius Acuff loves driving left and shooting with his right. He's one of the best that I've seen in college basketball at doing that. He missed his first couple of shots, but it makes it a little bit more challenging to defend him because he's so good at that at 6'3", 190 pounds. This Detroit, Michigan native is probably the best one, not only SEC, he's going to be freshman of the year, but potentially SEC player of the year, leading the league in both scoring and assists.
Yeah, there was a time he won 5 consecutive SEC Rookies of the Year. First player to ever do that. Richmond, another block. Been a block party here early on for that Arkansas front line. That's 3 rejections already. We haven't played 3 minutes.
And remember, you've got an Arkansas Razorback team that doesn't have Carter Knox tonight.
Yeah.
Doesn't have DJ Wagner. I think the upside is absolutely sensational for this team.
They're not particularly deep right now with those 2 out of the lineup, but their starters have been playing extended minutes without much signs of fatigue. There's a rare offensive rebound for LSU. LSU just trying to hit a shot. That's a brick, and that's 0 for 7 from the field for the Tigers. Not the start that LSU was hoping for and trying to pull off the upset. Brazil takes it strong. He can't find it. Everybody's cold here tonight.
Well, officials letting them play, so what you would know as a player is right now when you go to the basket, expect some contact and you got to play through it.
It's supposed to be an alley-oop pass, but it never made it to Nwoko, and then an and one on the other end for Brazil. So the Tigers with a rough start offensively, and Arkansas trying to cash in.
Well, Brazil is a young man who a few years ago people were talking about as a lottery pick, right? I remember when I had him at Maui when he was under Coach Musselman, and he was the best player on the floor, and there was a plethora of talent on the floor that day. He goes through an injury, comes back this year, actually changed his number, changed his hair. He's changed just about everything, but most importantly, he's changed his mentality. The coaches told me before the season started he was their most impressive player. He was being more physical, competitive, going back at guys. He's really fit in well with this new regime.
He's always been bouncy going back to his days at Missouri, a great shot blocker, but his game, as you mentioned, has really come a long way overall. The Tigers trying to desperately to get something going. Hanging, firing, and hitting. Took the contact, did Robert Miller, and dropped the deuce to make it 8-2.
I was talking to an LSU fan before the game, and he said Robert Miller needs to get meaner, which is what Nick Pringle has always had no issue doing.
And a violation on the inbounds. It'll be Arkansas basketball.
Points in the second half, actually hit 10 shots in a row. That's right. He took over the basketball game from every aspect. And right now, the Arkansas Razorbacks are taking over this game on the defensive end, and they've held LSU to only 2 points here early in the first 5 minutes.
LSU missed its first 7 shots. Not exactly the anatomy of an upset. If you're LSU trying to pull one off here, we'll see if they can heat up, and that'll help. A triple from the corner by P.J. Carter, the fifth-year senior.
Yeah, P.J. Carter had experience at Memphis last year. They need a pop right now to try to take off some of this Mardi Gras magic. And Malik Thomas, he's a guy that we probably forget about, right? Because we talk about Darius Acuff so much.
Well, I mean, together, they're one of the best backcourts in the country. They just both happen to be freshmen. He's out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Played for overtime, elite. But what a fantastic year he has had. Shooting 46% from behind the arc in conference play. This is the guy LSU needs to get going, McKinnon, and instead he throws it out of bounds.
When you talk about elite duos, you're not just talking about freshman duos. You see, Darius Acuff likes to switch from left to right hand in the air. And then you look at Malik Thomas. He has good size, the ability to shoot over his defenders at 6'5" and 185 pounds. This duo is simply sensational.
Arkansas has made its last 5 shots. Acuff just makes it so easy, slithering into the lane and laying it up reverse style. And then a block by Thomas. Here comes the Razorbacks up 10. Oh, and almost rocking the rim was Billy Richmond, but it rattles out of there.
I get excited every time I see him in transition, man. He is a human highlight film.
Inside, banging bodies and hammered that time. Robert Miller will draw a trip to the free throw line. There's Coach Cal, 34th season, 852 career wins. And we wish a happy birthday to one John Calipari.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking to him earlier today, and I said, Coach Cal, you know, with the guys out, you got, what, maybe 5 or 6 players, but he knows that's where he does some of his best work. Last year, you know, it took him on another postseason run, and then you see Matt McMahon just trying to get this program going. He's either had great non-conference years or great Southeastern Conference years where he went 500. You can see he's been to the NCAA Tournament 3 times, and he's just still trying to get it going here at LSU.
Fish, I'm going to do some of my best work. You ready?
I'm ready. Let me see what you got.
Coach Cal, not the only significant person that has a birthday today. My wife tuning in. Happy birthday, Summer, who
that's right.
Grew up a big Kentucky/Cal fan. So that'll certainly earn some points, I would like to think.
Well deserved. Well deserved.
Arkansas has piled up plenty of points here in the early going. Here's another blow by, that time a miss by Acuff. But there for the follow is Billy Richmond. One thing Coach McMahon talked to us about today, Fish, they can't allow the second shots for Arkansas.
Well, right now, Arkansas is just quicker to the basketball. Those were 3 different plays in a row on that possession where they were just quicker. Darius Acuff was quicker, Malik Ewing was quicker, and then Billy Richmond.
18-6. This is the spurt ability that Arkansas has. Brazil off his trampoline. Complete rejection of Jalen Reese's shot. That is 5 blocks already for Arkansas.
Well, and you think about Cal's teams that went to the Final Four at Kentucky. You think about guys like Anthony Davis. Rim protection was always part of their recipe. They're expecting more from their team at getting more rim protection.
Tough shot by P.J. Carter in the tall timber. Able to bank it home to pull within 10. Arkansas offensively, you take a look at the metrics, and again, at this time of the year, I tend to look at conference marks. There you see great backdoor action, easy lay-in for Acuff Jr. He already has 9 points for the Razorbacks.
Well, it's a good pass as well by Malik Ewing. You know, their bigs can pass, they're versatile.
What I was saying, Fish, is that you look at their offensive numbers, and they're top 3 in almost every relevant category.
That's
in
right.
League play, not just non-con, but actual conference games.
And this is the end where they have to continue to improve, right? Defensively, not only getting stops, but completing those stops with defensive rebounds. And right now on the season, for Arkansas, their field goal percentage defense is 13th in the SEC. They're better than that, right? And they've been playing better than that. They even did that at Mississippi State. They came out to a good start today. And the reason why that's so important to their overall recipe is because the ingredients of defense leads to transition where they're as good as anyone in the nation.
Off the inbounds, they try to get McKinnon going, and that's an easy call. A foul across the arm. That'll be on Ewan. Ewan, who has bounced around a bit, originally out of Gwinnett County, Georgia, Ole Miss, South Plains Community College, and the Florida State Seminoles. Inside, hook shot, can't get it. How about another effort instead of kick out? And the Tigers will reset. McKinnon, little float game, can't buy it. Nwoko had it stripped by Brazil.
Yeah, good hands. You know, you have to remember at Bud Walton, LSU played the Razorbacks. It was a 2-possession game, Mr. Ewing.
Man, this is what Arkansas can do if you're not careful. They can take your breath away with what they're able to do offensively.
Yeah, they got me tempted to just sit back, relax, and enjoy this, and they are putting on a show.
It has been an offensive clinic. They lead the SEC in field goal percentage at 51, and they're shooting above that now. Here's a turnover, numbers for the Razorbacks, and a foul. Malik Thomas got hammered by Reese.
Take a breath, buddy.
I need one.
My goodness. We talked about freshmen. Nice pass.
Grant Hill, Christian Laettner type play, capped off by a Malachi Moreno shot at the buzzer. That did 2 things. It obviously hurt LSU psychologically, and since then Kentucky has been one of the hottest teams in the league. Damian?
Yeah, they really have won 8 out of their last 9, Mike. And if you're wondering how in the world is LSU still in the hunt, Joe Lenardi, 2-8 in the league, it's because of the non-conference. They went 12-1. They knocked off the likes of an SMU out of the ACC. They helped clinch the ACC and the SEC challenge with a win at Boston College. Their one loss was to Grant McCastle, who's got an impressive duo there as well in Texas Tech. And so, yeah, they could still go on the run due to the league of the SEC having 10 teams in the top 40 of the net ranking.
That's right, which is the most in the country. And Coach McMahon pointed out, hey, we still have 8 quad 1 games left on the schedule. That's the message to his bunch. It's there for you. You can either lay down or you can fight like heck and try to make another run like they did a couple of years ago. Shot clock ticking down, fade and fire. I don't think he got it off, doesn't matter. And it's Tamba. Well, we were talking about Arkansas. I know our cohort has kind of quipped. Arkansas has a Final Four offense, but around a 32 defense. Defense so far in this game has been top notch.
It's been excellent. we have to remind our viewers, of course, DJ Thomas is not playing in this basketball game. A young man who would be leading the SEC in assists when he was playing, right? He was so good at distributing the basketball. He was terrific at butt walk. He controlled the tempo. He made sure that there he is right there. He made sure that the tempo didn't get out of hand, and you can see 6.5 assists, but he missed 8 of the last 11 games, and the transfer from UNLV just hasn't been able to get healthy.
He's only started 2 conference games, and I love what Coach McMahon told us, because nowadays, let's be honest, fans are become a little bit cynical with top-notch players exercising a little load management here and there. That is not the case with DJ Thomas. He's done everything he can with that foot to fight his way back multiple times. Unfortunately, the foot is not cooperating. Under 10 minutes to go in the opening half. Arkansas up 13. Acuff can't hit the floater. Here comes LSU. A rare transition opportunity. 3-on-2 all the way. And a beautiful take. Knifing in is Rashad King.
Yeah, I like Rashad King's game. You know, he's the one, speaking of DJ Thomas being out, he's kind of inherited that starting point guard spot, starting 5 games in a row. And you can see he's not a true point guard, but he's a good decision maker and athletic and talented enough to help.
Thomas, tough shot in the lane. The points in the paint continue to pile up for Arkansas. That is 20 of their 23 points have come in the paint. 3 ball, corner pocket, too strong. Here comes Arkansas again in transition. Acuff downhill. Oh, great defense. A strip by Reese. Now it's LSU the other way. Attack mode perhaps. Nope, they'll peel back. And down low, Nwoko gets held by the Razorbacks.
Anytime you have someone that has the highly touted resume of Darius Acuff, you always want to try to play a little bit better when they're at your position. And that's what Rashad King does. That's where Arkansas has got to get better. If you're Malik Thomas there, you don't want to reach, stand in there, stop the basketball, and get you a stop physically.
Tigers in the front court. They have not had many good looks in this first half. Shots blocked, shots contested, late clock situations. Kick ball there. So that'll buy them some extra time. The shot clock will advance from 8 to 20.
Look at the Razorbacks, though. They're breathing a little hard now. Remember, with Carter Knox and DJ Wagner being out, not as much rotation, so they're playing a lot of minutes. Malik Thomas played 40 minutes last game.
Shot clock at 10. Knifing in the lane, up and under move, left-handed hook shot is no good. And that is a guy we haven't talked about much, Markel Sutton. Coach McMahon said he's got to play big for us to win games like this. Straight on 3, too strong, and a nice box out there by Nwoko.
Yeah, Markel Sutton, the transfer from Omaha to Will Rogers High School. He's having challenges adjusting to the athleticism in the lead.
My goodness! Nwoko nearly took the rim off the backboard.
Now that's what I'm talking about. That's how you start Mardi Gras.
Woo. Extra spice in that gumbo. Man, oh man, where did that come from? Maybe that'll provide the spark that LSU needs.
Well, my guess is it's going to provide a spark for Arkansas to try to answer it, which is better for us.
Yes. Kick out from Acuff, Brazil again, and that's part of the game you were talking about, Fish, that has evolved.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got your 5-man that can step out and shoot the 3-point shot, and he's kind of playing the point forward of the 5, Malik Ewing's more of a 5, just makes you so much harder to defend.
Great ball movement, sets up an open tray. Nwoko possessed right now. Inside, floater, good. LSU firing a few punches down low. Sutton with the bucket.
Got us a game. As I said before, keep your eye on the Razorbacks. Got Brazil over there, hands on his knees, a little winded, trying to conserve some energy. Darius Acuff reads that as well. He settles it down here on the offensive end.
Around the screen, rise and fire, bucket. A triple for Acuff.
Hey, man.
Yeah, that's NBA looking move, right?
He's good.
He is a special talent. Now, Nwoko, this goes on his personal highlight reel for the rest of his life. Take a listen here.
Michael Nwoko! Just one little bounce, Hey, Brazil went for it. I respect it.
LSU. Obviously, Shaq is the first one you think of. I'm going Stromile Swift on that one.
Bringing up bad memories for
That's
me,
one of
man.
your opponents, right?
Took my heart, man. Took my heart on senior night at Auburn. Him, Jabari Smith.
Yeah.
Ronald Dupree.
Of course, ESPN celebrating Black History Month, and speaking of some of the great dunkers of all time, Shaquille O'Neal. If you know, you know. If not, YouTube it, folks. Shaquille O'Neal, who would go on to tear down a few backboards in his day in the NBA with the Orlando Magic. Such a great career here, 3 years under Dale Brown. Think about this. He played with Stanley Roberts and my favorite player in LSU history, Chris Jackson, a.k.a. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, one of the best shooters I've ever seen. Out of bounds off the air ball, and it will be LSU basketball.
Yeah, they had a plethora of players, right? You think about Pistol Pete, Pete Maravich, right? Bob Pettit. You know, so many terrific players. There goes some names that are in the rafters. So much rich history here at LSU, and that's what Matt McMahon's trying to get this program back to. In order to do that, you've got to get back into the NCAA tournament, and they're in a league that's going to provide them opportunities, but those opportunities are hard to win.
It's an unforgiving league, and when you're down a couple of players, as the foul is drawn by Robert Miller, nobody lets up on you, right? You lose 2 starters, that just means there's more blood in the water for opponents night in, night out. Saturday right here on the SEC Network, we've got a quadruple header of men's basketball games for you. LSU at Tennessee, that'll be at 6 o'clock Eastern time, and then Carolina at Alabama at 8:30. Fish, what about the Tennessee squad? You know, the knock has been, if you want to call it that, always great defensively under Rick Barnes.
Sure.
But is the offense good enough to make it a deep run or a deeper run? A couple of Elite Eights trying to break through to the Final Four. What do you think when you watch the Vols?
I think the Vols are going to do as well as the freshman Nate Ament can lead them. And whenever you have 1 or 2 freshmen leading you, similar to Arkansas, you're just not quite sure what you're going to get, right? So they've got to get consistent for 40 minutes, but they're a team that I believe is good enough to beat anyone, and Rick Barnes will have them ready to go as the season continues to move forward.
If you saw Nate Ament a couple of months ago versus what he looks like today, he's a whole different player. It's really coming together. Richmond tried to rock the rim himself. Now Sutton in transition. Euro step high off the window and in as the smoke shoots through the guns behind the goal. Yeah. I like that little touch. I think we should all have a smoke machine. 31-20, LSU hanging around, fighting hard, trying to get this back into single digits. Backdoor cut. Thomas back up top. Brazil. He likes that spot on the floor. Can't connect. And a nice box out, ripping down the rebound. It's McKinnon, but then stolen from behind. The arrow will favor on the tie-up LSU, but terrific hustle that time by Billy Richmond.
Man, 2 well-coached teams. I love it how both players, Max McKinnon and Billy the Goat Richmond, dove after the ball, right? You see the ball. Good peskiness that time by Billy Richmond, but neither team wanting to give it up. It's February right now. It's time to go get it. Either you'll be dancing or not in March. And Arkansas is playing for seeding. LSU still under consideration by Joe Lunardi. Desperate for a win here in the PMAC.
Billy Richmond, who you just have to watch him a few minutes to know he's a true energy guy. Had a career-high 16 points last year in the NCAA Tournament game against St. John's.
Well, he's a guy who I think, as they go through the NCAA tournament, when you have a guy that you need to lock down, I think Billy Richmond can be that guy. Defensively, he can be a leader on this team, along with DJ Wagner when he gets back in the offense and defense.
Another late clock situation for LSU. 1 second, and Brazil. My goodness indeed.
Hey,
that is 3 blocks, and that's more of a catch than it is a block, and 7 rejections for Arkansas.
Listen, hey, look, he jump stopped, he shot faked. Give me that. That's when you do everything that you can, but at the end of the day, you got one guy that's 6 feet, and you got another guy that's 7 feet. Nothing he can do about that.
You know who I would give credit for the block? Obviously, that's the highlight. It's the guys that played great defense for the first 29 seconds that forced that tough shot, right? I mean, they're really getting after it defensively.
Yeah. Well, Brazil, he's really only 6'10", but with his athleticism and length, long arms, he gives you the same presence as a 7-footer, and that's why the rim protection is critical for the Razorbacks.
3 ball does not drop for Thomas. LSU going downhill and slamming it home. That's Sutton, and they gave him a foul, so a chance at a 3-point play for Markel Sutton. I beg your pardon, they called the whistle before the shot.
We're not quite at the NBA, Mike, right?
Well, we do now. We have continuation, which I like.
I love it. I love it. But yeah, so he took 2 steps. Yep. He's allowed one more step or pivot into a shot. That was 2. That's why it's not quite the NBA.
That's right.
We still got some, some differentiation.
Yes.
Which I love.
NBA, you probably get that. College, you still need a little more. Oh! That will count. This has become a dunk-a-thon. That's Robert Miller dropping the hammer. Richmond somehow explodes to the basket and sneaks it in.
Well, if it's a dunk contest, I know who I'm taking. So if you're LSU, you got to get back defensively.
Yeah.
Get your body in front of the Razorbacks and stop allowing them to get to the basket at will.
Too easy after a made bucket. Coming up on the 3.5-minute mark of the first half. 33-22. Arkansas on top. They've led throughout. And now a foul. Down low, going for the rebound, but 3:28 to play. High-flying acrobatics here at the PMAC. Defense be good enough to win 4 in the big dance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, it depends on the matchups, right? I think some teams you don't want to see. A lot of them in the Big 12, right? You could go Arizona, Houston. I think Houston's going to be there, even though Arizona comes up short. Kansas, who knocked off Houston without Darian Peterson. Yeah. UConn, there's a lot of good ones, but I like Arkansas against a lot of those teams.
Nice lay-in, knifing in was Ewan. I'll say this, too, about the defense. Keep in mind, this team you're seeing tonight, DJ Wagner's their best on-ball defender.
Yep.
And Carter Knox gives them another body off the bench. So if they're doing this, playing short-handed defensively, it's only going to get better.
Absolutely. Just got to find some minutes for everybody once they get back.
That's the best-looking shot that LSU has had. An open 3 from the wing. Sutton splashes, and it's back to a 10-point game, but there's the answer. When in doubt, go to A-Cup. 14 points in the first half.
Yeah, they don't have an answer for him, and that's what Coach Matt McMahon said what happened in the second half when Darius A-Cup scored 24 points at Bud Walton. He said, we just didn't have an answer for him. And so I don't know what you do. I got to watch more film. I think you maybe put size, but he's got too many weapons around him.
Yeah. But he has, too, the ability. I was talking to a scout the other day about A-Cup, and what the scout really loved about his game is that he lets the game come to him. He does not force anything.
That's right. Well, what he has is a feel for the game, and that's something that you can't put on analytics. You can't say he shoots such and such from behind the 3-point line or his turnover ratio. No, he knows when to shoot, when to jab, when to go by, when to pass, when to shoot the mid-range, when to finish, when to jump into your body. He's got a feel for all of that, and some of those things you can't coach, and that's what Cal has done his entire career, is evaluate and recruit those guys to his program, and that's why Cal's a Hall of Famer.
Already has an NBA body, too, does A-Cup. An empty trip at the free throw line for LSU. 12-point game. 2 minutes to go, first half. A-Cup. That one almost got down. I don't even know how. He just kind of split a double. McKinnon leading the break. Sutton, pump fake, shot up, and the bank is not open as it spins out.
All the block shots we're talking about,
yeah,
that's just one of the altered shots. Yeah. You see how many times Sutton pump fake and had to try to shoot it high off the glass? Now he's thinking about it.
Yep. Thomas then draws the hack on the other end. Now the other part of that talented freshman dynamic duo for Arkansas, a 5-star recruit, is Malik Thomas. Chose the Hogs over Alabama, UConn, and Kentucky. 83% free throw shooter on the year. Misfires on the first. Women's basketball, how about a quadruple header on Sunday? It all starts Vanderbilt at Georgia, Ole Miss, Kentucky, Oklahoma, Alabama, and then the nightcap will be Auburn at Texas A&M. 5 top 25 teams going at it. It'll be right here on the SEC Network. Mike Morgan with the Fish. Damian Fish back here at the PMAC on a Tuesday night. Just 2 SEC games tonight. The Commodores started things off with a road win at Auburn. It's hard to, I mean, we're running out of accolades for what Coach Byington has done in short order at Vanderbilt, as if last year wasn't a great enough story. But what he's doing this year, playing shorthanded, I might add, just phenomenal.
Yeah, and one of the reasons is Tyler Tanner, who has been the most improved player. And another candidate, sneaky candidate for SEC Player of the Year if the Commodores can keep winning and try to make a push for this SEC.
Max McKinnon 0 for 4, just hasn't been his night so far, and almost an acrobatic three-point opportunity for Sealy. It does not drop, but that thing almost went in.
Yeah, and this is what I mean when I talk about their defense, right? Their assist-to-turnover ratio is 6th in the NCAA, number 1 in the SEC, so they don't turn over the basketball due to Darius Acuff. They also are extremely terrific when they get out. Fast break points, they're number 3 in the nation. I tell you all that to say, if they can start to sit down defensively, like we've seen for the majority of this first half, then this is a Razorback team that can certainly compete and beat anyone in the country, and have already beaten Louisville and Texas Tech and played Michigan State to a one-possession game.
We'll show you some analytics later, I should say. We did mention earlier that the SEC has the most teams in the top 40 in the net ranking. But maybe the most impressive number for Arkansas, they're one of the few teams in the country, not a single loss against quad 2, quad 3, or quad 4. All their losses have come against quad 1 opponents. So they have not kind of stubbed their toe like even the really good teams do against a less than stellar opponent.
Well, and what that tells you is when you're filling out your bracket, you can feel pretty comfortable about putting the Razorbacks in the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Right? They'll probably get there. Now, we don't know where they'll get seeded, which is important. Right? Seeding is so valuable for those teams in the upper echelon right now. But just them getting healthy and getting better in the month of February so that where they're playing their best basketball in March is going to be critical.
Brazil and Nwoko whistle for a double foul, so in that case it goes to the possession arrow, which does favor Arkansas. Razorback basketball with 46.6 on the clock. I need some fish facts, Damian Fishback, and I mean we've gone over a few, but you're breaking down some alliteration here. Triple D.
Yeah, this one's easy, right? Discipline plus determination equal your destination. And I think that's critical right now, Mike, because this time of the year, February can become mundane, man. Shoot around, practice, checking in the hotel. You know, you don't know what you're playing for. And you can also lose focus, right? Guys can be trying to focus on getting to the NBA. Coaches can be focused on their job. Your discipline plus your determination is going to help you get to your destination, no matter whether you're on Joe Lunardi's top 4 lines or whether you're like LSU fighting to get into the tournament.
Yeah, right I think it's so true. Even great players sometimes can lose a little bit of that concentration.
This time of year,
it's a grind. It's a long season that spans over 2 different semesters. It spans over holidays. It spans over really cold weather here of late. So a lot of things can happen. Oh, I thought that was an alley-oop initially out of the hand of Thomas.
I'm still not sure what it was.
I'm not sure what it was, but it's 2 points in the books, and the lead is now 17, a 7-0 run for the Razorbacks. 5-second differential. LSU will take its time in the half court, and Reese now says, let's take the use it or lose it timeout and talk things over. LSU trying to get some much needed momentum here. But
says that men's basketball SEC has the highest average ranking, net ranking of 46, KenPom rankings, and that's higher than the Big 12, Big 10, ACC, all the other conferences at large. So even though they don't have the number of teams in the AP poll, the numbers support the quality of the league.
Shot clock at 5, fade and fire for Reese. Beautiful. Nice bucket Arkansas's got 5 seconds to play with. Here comes Acuff. Probes the left side, slips and falls, and it'll be out of bounds to LSU at .9. Now LSU will likely go down 15 at the half, and a little bit of momentum before intermission.
Keep your head up, young fella. Darius Acuff was frustrated with himself. He showed his Clark Kent side and finally turned it over.
That will not count. On line, but short anyway. Darius Acuff, 14 points, 3 assists, and a half that was full of highlight slams, and back in this game.
Well, first of all, they've got to get some stops, right? LSU comes in holding teams in conference play to 74 points per game, and the Razorbacks are already well on the half the way there. So this is the end. Even though Robert Miller didn't make that shot, you got to get some stops on this end. Show some toughness, show some character, and defend.
Defend the paint, because 30 points for Arkansas of the 42 came in the lane. Drive, spin. Thomas goes back up top. Here's Acuff. Late clock situation. Acuff just makes it look easy. He saw the big man Robert Miller on him and said, that's a mismatch.
But did you notice he jumped off the right leg? He knew he couldn't take another step and laid it up with his right hand.
Yes.
That's what I mean when I say he can read and evaluate the game so well.
So crafty, so under control. Inside, big to big, but a block. Another one for Brazil. That's 4 rejections for Brazil.
Yeah, he's a huge piece, both defensively and offensively.
It's the Mardi Gras season, and we've got a block party going on so far in this game, provided by Arkansas.
So let's see if the Tigers can get a few stops, right? That's a stop here, and then offensively, if they can score, they can get their defense set.
Nice play that time by Jalen Reese, freshman from Orlando, Florida.
Well, Reese is a freshman that's taken advantage of DJ Thomas being out of the game as well. I think he's got a bright upside, good speed, good change of pace and direction, and defensively he can be feisty.
There's the feistiness as he hits Acuff on the arm. Second foul for the freshman Jalen Reese. So many great point guards over the years for that man, John Calipari, and you think of Wall and Rose. The list just goes on and on and on. John Calipari said in the recruiting process, the moment I watched him in person play, said I knew that's the guy I want.
Yeah, and his dad, I had a chance to meet Darius earlier tonight. He said, I appreciate all the nice things that you said about my son, and my response was, it's pretty easy.
It's pretty easy, yeah.
Yeah. You see his numbers against Mississippi State, 24, 8, and 5, and he is on a roll again tonight. He's the reason why I think that Arkansas can get to Indianapolis.
Well, he lit it up in the first meeting between these two teams, a game in which LSU was very competitive in Fayetteville. Acuff already with a game-high 18 points. And now a steal by Thomas. Ahead to Acuff, look out, lay-in.
Unbelievable. Markel Sutton was running like he was in a 100-meter dash, yeah. But Acuff could feel that he had enough time to just lay it up softly.
This is the guy that would have to get it going. There's that Euro step. We used to call that a walk, but now you can get away with it in the college game. McKinnon gets his first basket. 1 for 5 from the field for the Aussie. Follow-up stuff. I did not go in, though. It's out of bounds to Arkansas. I thought for a second that went in off of the right hand of Brazil.
Well, and Darius Acuff, you see how he just absorbs that body contact and he gets it up before Robert Miller has a chance to get there. He can see him out of the left side of his eye, and he knows he's got a split second to get it on the glass, because obviously if they block it after it hits the glass, it's a goal team.
Up top to Malik Thomas. Off the return from Richmond. Now Brazil. Right of the lane. Shot clock ticking down to 5. Brazil senses it. and is pushed from behind with 3.5 on the shot clock. So you play great defense for 27 seconds and then commit a foul on a late clock situation.
Well, those are the type of plays that would make Matt McMahon, the head coach of LSU, pull his hair out, right? You know, those are the kind of plays where if you play defense that long, you just got to be solid, put your hands up, and defend for a few more seconds. Now you've got 20 more seconds. You have to guard this talented team for the Razorbacks.
Acuff goes to work. 5 seconds. Skip pass into the corner to his backcourt mate Thomas. Rims off, and LSU there to board it into the hands of Sutton. Carter on Pringle. Tough matchup, and Pringle gets whistled for the foul. That was almost another block. Arkansas already has 8 of them, but that's the 3rd foul on Pringle.
Well, and the Razorbacks are a team that I think can give Florida a run for their money in this league if they show up to play. And the reason why is because of the front line. You think about Nick Pringle, very experienced, a guy who's very familiar with the SEC, made the Final Four run with Alabama. You've also got Brazil, who's long, athletic enough. Ewing, the transfer from Florida State. So they can match up with the Thomas Houck, an Alex Condon, a Ruben Chinyelu. Now, Ruben Chinyelu would be my biggest concern. He's so strong and physical. And then they've got the nice guard play. Even though they're freshmen, they've got enough depth when they're healthy. I'll be excited to see that basketball game between those two teams.
No doubt. How much fun is that SEC tournament going to be again this year? I know we're a few weeks away, but it's too often you hear the cliche, anybody can win it. We know that's not really the truth. We're not here to tell lies, but I do think there are multiple teams that can win it this year.
Look at that pass.
There's the stuff on the other end. Malik Thomas making it 50-33.
He doesn't hold the basketball, right? Darius Acuff, as efficient as he is scoring the basketball, one of the reasons why the Razorbacks are second in the league in 17.5 assists per game is because of this.
Brazil on a steal. Brazil will have a chance at 2 at the line. Almost a 3-point play. Acuff putting on a show, Damian Fishback.
Yeah, like a
company will try to win their 3rd in 4 years, and preseason number 2. Certainly wouldn't bet against the guys in purple and gold. Was listening to one of my longtime cohorts on the radio today, Todd Walker, who was such a terrific player, an All-American, won a national championship at LSU, does great work for us on the SEC network.
Absolutely. And it's that time of the year, right? So right now, Matt McMahon is fighting and scratching to try to pull some of those LSU Tiger fans into the PMAC to continue to show their support. You know, I talked to a fan at the break, and he said, man, there sure was a difference in talent. I don't think he loved my response. I said, you know, as fans, you can contribute to that now.
Well, that's what every coach that's having a rough year is not afraid to point out. It is controllable. Straight on 3. Fuller and Nwoko. Been a warrior down low in this game so far tonight. He'll go to the line for a couple. Softball's already going on. And speaking of which, the Shriners Children's Clearwater Invitational. SEC Network has all 4 of these games coming up. It all starts with number 23 Oklahoma State, number 17 Georgia. That's a Thursday morning special. So bagels, waffles, pancakes, and some softball at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Then the Bulldogs back at it Friday against NC State. You got softball going on. You'll have baseball going on. And is there a better month than March and college basketball that'll be going on in a matter of a couple weeks? We are getting closer and closer, but as so many like to say, Fish, you make your March in February. This is such an important time of the year for these teams.
Well, and as much as we have praised Arkansas, LSU hasn't been able to get closer. Every time they start to pull the lead, Arkansas makes a play to extend that lead back out now to 19 points. It's just the scoring is too easy for the Razorbacks right now.
Couple pump fakes, shot off the glass, no good. Fall, no good. Nwoko, he's there. He can't get it. Boy, 3 at close range. How about a 4th one? No. How about Nwoko? Lost it. And that draws a little bit of the ire from the hometown fans. That'll make them feel better. A steal and the finish. A 2-hand slam by Sutton.
Nice battle by the LSU Tigers, and for the Razorbacks right now, these are some of the, I would say, some of the warts that they have to continue to work on, right? Defensive rebounding. They do a good job of taking care of the basketball, but we just mentioned Florida. You think about that Kansas-Arizona game last night, if they're facing a Toby Awaka and Koa Pete and Krivas, like, you're going to have to finish the defensive possession with getting on the glass.
Now, we knew LSU was going to have to shoot the ball particularly well to pull off the upset tonight. 33 from the field, 2 of 11 from behind the arc. They nearly pulled off the win against Georgia the other day, and they started off hot from 3. They hit 4 of their first 5. But then came a streak the likes that I haven't seen in a while as LSU tries to take advantage of the turnover. 3 no, tapped around, and look out, here comes Acuff. Full throttle on the attack. Got it. I mean, how do you stop him? 22 points for Acuff. He's throwing out some Derrick Rose vibes here tonight.
Well, for, I would say, 70 to 80% of players, that would have been a bad shot.
Right. Richmond in transition. And a timeout. Stop the bleeding now. 12th turnover for LSU, largest lead for Arkansas, 13:07 to play.
He comes down on the fast break and he sees a couple of guys. It makes absolutely no difference for him. Let's take a look. He gets it on the fast break here. And then, now you've got Malik Thomas. He does a nice job. He's running down the street. But you've also got 1, 2, 3 guys behind him. And look how he's just patient. He's calm. He's poised and goes through the traffic like a police officer. It is so easy for Darius Acuff. That's the impact of having a young freshman like that on your team.
It's funny, we've used that word easy, which it's not easy for most guys, but he makes it look easy. He's such a talent. Chatting with our recruiting analyst, Paul Biancardi. That's coming right toward us. And there we go. I was ready for it, Fish.
I was not. I was looking into my monitor. I'm glad you had my back,
I
partner.
had your back. I had your back. But one thing that Paul said, just covering recruiting is the way he does. He said he thought that what made him so productive coming out of high school, he was always playing at higher levels. There's a 3 by the other star freshman, Malik Thomas. And his father, who you talked to earlier, once told Paul that when he saw how competitive Darius was, he thought it would help him to play against the older players. First in pickup ball, then in organized basketball. And even though he grew up in Detroit, he wanted to play against the best. He went to IMG,
right,
and just continued to get better and better. And so this transition from high school to the SEC, he's made it look a lot easier than it actually is.
And that's so critical right now, where it's hard for a lot of freshmen to even get on a team due to the transfer portal and guys coming in internationally and one guy coming back right from the G League. And I think it's important. You know, we've got Charles Bediako, who's been declared ineligible. I think it's important for fans and people that are talking about it to remember that Bediako is a real human being. He's a young man. He's a guy who was trying to figure it out, right? It wasn't his fault that he didn't know if he was going to be eligible or not. So I think fans need to, you know, show a little bit more mercy, realize it's a real life going on. Yes, he's going to be fine, but that's a 23-year-old young man that, you know, was impacted. Whether he thought he was going to get NIL money, thought he was going to try to be able to compete for a national title, he was ruled ineligible. It was the right decision, but it's a real human being, and we need to remember that.
Very good point. I think the other thing, too, is that what's great about NIL for a lot of these young men, you see them realizing it's better at this level of basketball than it is playing in the G League. You make more money, the travel's better, the training is better. It's a much better deal overall if you can have that choice between the two.
especially in the SEC.
Yes.
Another shot altered by Brazil, right?
Yep.
We talked about the block shots. Even on that shot, Malik Ewing disrupted Reese.
Brazil already has 4 blocks. And Arkansas as a team tonight with 9. Timeout on the floor. 11:14 to play. 21st team in America. Arkansas is rolling in Baton Rouge.
Football, it's blocking and tackling. In that game, it's going to boil down to the paint and the glass. Both teams dominant on the glass. The team who wins that paint area will be the team who leaves here with the Mardi Gras victory.
That would be another kind of feather in the cap for the Southeastern Conference on the women's side. Another strong league that'll be full of high-seeded teams come bracket time. Arkansas, as we mentioned at the top, right now Joe Lenardi has the Razorbacks as a 6 seed. But you could certainly see a world, Fish, where if they keep playing this type of basketball, that 6 could keep elevating a 5, a 4. Who knows what the limit is for this Arkansas squad?
Yeah, I think with their strength of schedule non-conference, again, you mentioned no quad 2, 3, or 4 losses will go a long ways. They've just got to continue to stack wins and get healthy. A win at Alabama or potentially over Florida would go a long way as well to them potentially getting a 3 seed, or I don't know, maybe they could even get a 2 seed. Because those wins, especially the win over Texas Tech, I think goes a long ways. And then the committee's going to look and see that 1-possession game against Michigan State. Played UConn, took 3-possession game, beat Louisville, who pounded NC State last night. My goodness.
Talk about a coach who's done a fine job in a short amount of time with that program. It's Acuff, 24 points now, 4 assists. You mentioned he's leading the conference in league play and scoring and assists. So I was asking our crack research staff here in Baton Rouge, and he sent it up to Bristol. They went all the way back to 96, 97, could not find a player, forget about freshmen, just a player to lead the SEC in both scoring and assists in league play. So Darius Acuff has a chance to make some history this year. Well, great and one by Thomas.
And that's why you got to talk about Darius Acuff as a potential SEC Player of the Year if Arkansas continues to finish. But this man that we don't talk enough about, Malik Thomas, how about this? He actually has better numbers than Moses Moody, who got SEC Player of the Year. And so as much as we talk about Darius Acuff, he probably overshadows his Robin, if you will, who's having a phenomenal freshman year as well.
Thomas drills it. 7-0 run Arkansas. 30-point cushion for the Razorbacks. We're coming up on the heels of the NBA All-Star game. John Calipari's guys will be well represented in that matchup. How about 5 of the SEC's 7 players will be guys that Coach Cal coached. As you see Richmond come away from the pack to Brazil, back to Richmond! Big to big transition alley-oop.
Well, Billy Richmond's sister runs track here at LSU, and my goodness, that looked like a track meet, just had a basketball included.
Billy Richmond III, his dad Billy Jr., played for Coach Cal at Memphis back in the early 2000s. An and one for LSU on the other end.
Yeah, Mike, you said earlier, if you know, you know. And these two guys get out and give you the old school give and go, and it's beautiful basketball. I thought he was going to reverse it for a second. Man, they are elite when they get out in transition. 3rd in the nation in fast break points.
I was trying to think of some of the last few teams that we saw at Kentucky when Coach Cal was there, and they were always one of the biggest teams, right? Cal loved length. He loved the
Carl Anthony Towns,
yeah.
Anthony Davis, DeMarcus Cousins.
But those last few years, I don't remember a team that ran as well that was so good in transition as this version of Coach Cal basketball. As you see a Razorback down on the ground, that's Pringle. Pringle just trying to get his wits about him.
Previous play is under further review.
So he got tangled up down low, and that means the officials are going to head to the monitor.
You can look at the bottom of the screen. Nick Pringle in the white, Michael Nwoko.
Yeah, I don't think it was intentional, but he did get hit by the right elbow of Nwoko.
Yeah, it's above the shoulders, which is why they're taking a look.
Right.
Remember, it has to be excessive.
Right.
They want to see is it a basketball play or is it unnecessary or not a basketball play. And I just don't think.
Well, he doesn't even extend the elbow. It's tucked in when the contact is made, and it's behind him.
There's no doubt when you get hit like that, it hurts.
Oh, it hurts.
But whether it was unnecessary, we'll see.
After review, there is no additional illegal contact. It'll be Arkansas ball on the baseline.
It's our crew chief, Steven Anderson, out of Orlando, Florida. I know that because every 10 flights or so, I wind up sitting next to Steven Anderson. Always enjoy picking his brain. Have so many great officials here in the Southeastern Conference. Always fascinated with the job that they do. There's a lot to monitor these days. You got 10 guys on the floor. It's a high-paced game and a lot of things that they have to cover. High pace is what you've come to expect here in the SEC, which leads the country, among other things, points per possession, as Richmond draws the foul. So if you like high-scoring games, if you like fast-paced games, and if you just like good games with good teams, you've come to the right place. In fact, this is one of the many rankings that you can find where the SEC is at the top of the list. Ken Palm, who does such a great job at all the analytics. The SEC #1 at plus 19.5, followed by the Big 10, Big 12, ACC, and the Big East. The number that we alluded to earlier, 10 teams in the top 40 of the net. That leads the way. So whether it's Ken Palm, whether it's the net, the Southeastern Conference is at the top of the heap. There is no way you were going to replicate what this league had last year.
That's
14
right.
out of 16 is historical, and I don't know if we'll see it again in our lifetime. But make no mistake about it, the SEC, in terms of depth, is still as good as anybody in the country. And time will tell, do you have another team like you did last year with Florida that could go all the way?
And you got to remember the SEC challenged themselves. According to net strength of schedule, the most challenging strength of schedule in all of college basketball as well. And the SEC will continue to go out and challenge themselves.
That was the edict years ago, laid down by Greg Sankey in the Southeastern Conference, and it continues to be a regular occurrence. So does that for Arkansas. An alley-oop give. LSU does a good job of breaking it up, almost like a defensive back breaking up a pass play on the gridiron.
Terrence Acuff, he kind of looked over and he's like, "Come on, man!" But this is still it's the perfect pass, and literally just goes through the hands of Isaiah Zeliz. Listen, he hadn't played a lot of minutes, still getting accustomed to it. But love the fact that Darius Acuff was unselfish and tried to get the young fella involved.
Too strong. On the free throw is Tamba. 6'7" senior. Played a couple years at UC Davis.
How
originally
tall, Mike?
Out of Spain.
How tall is he?
Well, they list him at 6'7".
You said I wasn't going to get you earlier.
I didn't measure him. Another alley-oop, and that time the finish is there. So you fail once, that's okay. We're going to come right back to you like a wide receiver who drops a pass. You say, that's all right. I'm going to throw it back at you again. And Sealy, this time with the finish.
Now, for LSU fans who are watching this game and Sealy with the careless foul, You got to remember, you don't have your top two players in Jalen Reed and DJ Thomas, but Arkansas's got all of their players. Trevor Brazile has been well-traveled like Southwest Airlines. You think about the likes of going from Missouri, going through an injury back in 22-23 at Arkansas, suffering that knee injury, and then really finding himself again this season. He's healthy. He's confident. His mindset is so different, and the 7 points are good, but the 11 rebounds is what Coach Cal and the Razorbacks need more than anything, more than those dunks, just as much as the block shots, because him completing the defensive possession with the rebounds allows the Razorbacks to get out and run, Mike.
That's the kind of performance that'll earn you a first-class ticket on Southwest.
No doubt about it.
Stuff in that stat sheet, points, rebounds, and blocks. You talk about Arkansas and what they have. The backcourt is dynamic for sure, and Acuff is special. And then the front court, you've got rim protection. When they get their bodies back, you'll have some extra depth.
Yeah, quality depth. Carter Knox, DJ Wagner, both were on that run last year to the NCAA tournament.
Backdoor cut, and there's the finish. Silky smooth, gliding through the air, changing hands. Acuff for two more.
He changes hands almost, 50% of the time. And again, that goes to the feel that he has for this game.
Couple pump fakes. Oh, nice up and under move that time. Put on display by Tamba.
Razorbacks defensively, third time holding SEC opponents to 30 points or less in a half.
Yeah.
First time they've ever done that in SEC play,
SEC
3 times
play.
in a row.
A rare mistake there by Acuff. LSU numbers and no finish. How about a second one? How about the third time's the charm, or is it? No, offensive foul call. And Matt McMahon irate over that whistle. And Ewan got popped, so he's down. Oh gosh, yeah, he is bleeding profusely, and so that's what drew the whistle. We couldn't really see that from here, but no doubt they will look at it on review.
Ruling on the floor is a common foul for an offensive foul on 8 for LSU. That play is under review.
Well, obviously it wasn't on this first play. Oh yeah, that left elbow comes down as he's still fighting for the basketball and catches him. Ooh, right there.
Ouch.
Kind of on the left side of the temple. What a shot. And it looks like they're going to take him back to the locker room. Really hope that he's okay.
Yeah, you could see the blood gut.
To a flagrant one. I think the officials got it right.
Well, that's a key point you just made. Remember years ago we used to actually have what was called an intentional foul. We removed that vernacular from the rules. Flagrant does not have to be intentional.
Is this how we decide who gets the free throw if you're the best duo freshman in the country?
This is how you and I decide.
That's good.
This is how you and I decide who pays for dinner tonight, Fish.
No doubt. No doubt. This is good, man. You know what, though? And I will say this. Since Coach Cal has come to Arkansas, man, you have that family feel. He's got Coach Kenny Payne with him, Coach Flynn. He's got his son. I mean, it's just a family atmosphere at Arkansas.
Well, I'll tell you what. You can't go wrong with either one of those guys. They both shoot 83 at the line in SEC play. So when you're both that good, sometimes you have to determine it with old school rock, scissors, paper. Another hard foul in this game. We've had quite a few in the second half. You could always go odd or even, maybe a little hot potato. I mean, there's a number of ways to determine that, Fish.
You gotta mix it up.
Gotta mix it up a little bit.
Coach Cal talked to us about the fact that you know, he's proof that continuing to recruit freshmen work. Now, I know what everybody's going to say. Well, not everyone gets your type of freshman.
Right.
But we have more freshmen in college basketball making an impact than maybe ever this year. And I think it's very important for staff to remember as you try to wait and get to the transfer portal that there's quality freshmen out there that are making impacts right now in their first season for multiple schools.
Yeah, if you extrapolate it outside of the SEC, including obviously the great freshmen we have here. We talked about Amen at Tennessee, seeing an A-Cup today. DeBonza of BYU is unreal, a 6'9" superstar. And then you go when he does play, Darren Peterson at Kansas is terrific. I tell you who I love, the Burries kid at Arizona. Really good guard.
We could go all day.
Yeah. Brazil, wow! Weaving left to right, throws it up, and a perfect kiss for the and one.
Really good. Really good because at that size, 6'10", you got to respect the shot fake and his ability to put it on the floor, absorb the contact. You talked about luck. I mean, that was a little luck probably there. I don't know. That was a lot of skill. That was a lot of skill. He flipped that wrist. He flipped that wrist at the end. But his progression under Coach Cal has been outstanding.
10 points, 11 rebounds. You can now give Brazil a double-double to go along with 5 blocks.
And if you're just tuning in, this was from the tip. Arkansas came out defensively and established. Man, Billy Richmond with the rebound, and then when they get out in transition, this guy is so good.
Goodness gracious. That's just not even fair. A hezzy, and then you just put it in high gear and go right at the rack.
Yeah. And physically, he absorbs the contact. He can take the contact a lot more than what you would imagine.
28 for A-Cup, so he's now averaging over 30 points a game in the 2 meetings against LSU. Watch the change of pace here on this play.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe Cal got them to schedule me this game to make me rethink my SEC Player of the Year, but it's certainly working, man. This guy, between the legs, change of pace, change of direction, off of the window. Now, stop asking for that foul now. You're not there yet. LeBron's got everybody doing that, man. Every play they asking for a foul.
Oh, man.
But it's going to be hard for him not to win that award. Even if they were to finish second in the SEC because of his impact and dominance all the way around.
Well, who did you have at number 1?
Thomas Howell.
Yeah. I mean, look,
it's hard to argue.
It's hard to argue. I mean, there's some really good candidates this year. Razorbacks have now made 7 of the last 8 and are well on their way to an 8-3 mark in conference play. A-Cup. No.
Oh!
Pringle. Yes.
Big fella. That's what I expect to see out of him. I told him at the shoot-around today. For a guy like Coach Cal and Kenny Payne, the associate head coach, that's put guys like Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Davis, DeMarcus Cousins, the list goes on and on. If they can't get it out of you, no one can.
What I like about the addition of Pringle, it's hard to forget. Just a couple years ago, he was on a Final Four team with Alabama.
Yeah. Out of Seabrook, South Carolina. Last year, he goes back home and plays for Lamont Paris. Didn't work out, so he decided to go with Coach Cal. And I think he's huge. I think he's a silent assassin on this team. Defensively, he needs to be an anchor. He needs to be lethal on the offensive and defensive glass. And then offensively, when he makes plays, he can make plays. But they've got enough offensive power where he doesn't have to be that guy offensively. But if he can establish inside presence and give them a basket when they go through some droughts, then that would be crucial too.
And we know it's in there because on that Final Four team, he averaged over 6 rebounds a game for Alabama.
And he's a heady player. He got a nice basketball IQ.
Sneaking toward the 4-minute mark. as Thomas draws a whistle with 4:04 to go. Well, you've seen Arkansas. You've seen Florida. You saw what Vandy did in the game leading up to ours here tonight with a big road win at Auburn. Who's your team? I mean, who's the best team in this league right now?
Well, I think everybody's got to go with the defending national champs, right? And until someone knocks them off of their seat. But time will tell. I do think the steps that have been taken, not only by the versatility of the bigs for Florida, like they're not just rebounders, defenders. They are playmakers, and they have versatility, and I think Micah Handlogten is going to be crucial. He gives them additional length, additional depth if they get into foul trouble. And then their guards are coming. They're coming. Boogie Fland is coming.
That's I was just going to say that the 6 degrees of Cal, Boogie Fland, a Cal recruit and former Cal player, he started off sluggish. He's come on.
Yeah.
And with Boogie Fland playing at a high level to go along with that front court, which is good as any in the country, Florida is right now clicking on all cylinders.
Well, I think he took pride in going up against LeBaron Philon when they played against Alabama. So I want to see him matched up against Darius Acuff. I'll have my popcorn waiting.
Tamba now with 11 points and 7 rebounds. Good day at the office. Just too little, too late. Brazil takes it strong and gets hammered at the apex.
Well, I talked about popcorn. Grab your, hey, look at the smiles, man. It just shows you. Got to remember these are young men having a great time. And how about this duo tonight? 28 points, and how efficient has Acuff been? 13 of 22, 5 assists. And then Malik Thomas doesn't get enough credit defensively. Got 4 rebounds along with 3 steals to go, and they're certainly on my all-freshman team. I would add Nate Ament, Malachi Moreno, and Amari Allen at Alabama to be my all-freshman team right now. But to have 2 of those is a place where Cal has been very familiar.
Boy, is he ever. I mentioned the 7 All-Stars from the Southeastern Conference. 5 of those, of course, coming from Cal's tree going back to Kentucky. How about this? Tyrese Maxey.
Ooh.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the reigning MVP.
Pretty good, huh?
Jamal Murray.
Wow.
Devin Booker and Karl Anthony Towns. If you want to win yourself a bar bet tomorrow, you could ask somebody, well, who are the non-Cal, non-Kentucky SEC guys to make it to the All-Star game? Anthony Edwards of Georgia and Kevin Durant, who played for one Rick Barnes at Texas. 7, by the way, leads all conferences in terms of players to make it to the All-Star game. 3-on-2 and a block, but a foul as Sealy goes to the free throw line. I mentioned earlier it is Mardi Gras season, and yeah, initially, Fish, you were afraid of Mr. King Cake.
Well, I wasn't afraid, but I was uncomfortable with that man. I was like, hold on, man.
So I
said, with that face right there, hold on. What you doing?
You know,
that's what I needed to know.
Yeah,
but
we needed
we
to know.
got cool afterwards.
King Cake.
I was like, let me get my handkerchief. You see what I told him? I said, watch your step, young fella. Watch your step.
Yeah. I think you're going to have nightmares tonight.
I said, watch your step, young fella.
I think King Cake is living rent-free in your head.
You know, it looked like one of those scary movies that you see late at night.
Chucky,
when you turn the
King
channel
Cake.
Yeah, man.
Well, the nightmare tonight has been provided by Arkansas because they have been scary to go against in this game. Both ends of the floor from the opening tip on.
I like that I just saw Cal showing a little bit of matchup zone, because I think in order for them to get to Indianapolis, he's going to have to mix it up, you know.
And he doesn't like to play much of it.
No, but he's going to need to mix it up. It's just teams are too good this year.
Let me ask you, as a former sharpshooter, first the LSU break, a rare one tonight. Oh, you got to go straight up with that big man. He finally, unnecessary pump fake by Sutton.
Hey, man, they got 10 blocks on the night, man. He got traumatized.
It's exactly
tough
what happened.
out here.
You're probably thinking King Cake might come out of the floor and block one. But as a former sharpshooter, your days at Auburn, when you see a zone, did you get excited?
Oh, my eyes lit up.
Yeah,
that's easy. That's easy pickings. And Coach Cal getting some of the guys who give a lot of hard work in practice. I thought this was an excellent display of what the Razorbacks can be. And candidly, for the LSU Tigers, this is a reminder that you have to continue to show your support to Coach Matt McMahon when it comes to getting the type of players that they need. Now, they've got their two better players out, Jalen Reed, DJ Thomas, so that's tough to compete for anybody who takes their top two players off the team.
The only suspense left in this one, can Arkansas hit the century mark? They've done it 5 times this year. The last time was in SEC play against the Gamecocks, a 108-74 victory. You take a look at the upcoming 5 games, Fish. What do you see here? I mean, if you look at it, they're about to improve to 8-3 in SEC play. What do you think they look like after those 5 games?
Well, you got a desperate Auburn team now after that home loss against Vandy. Auburn was dominant at Neville Arena earlier in the season versus the Razorbacks. They won't pay back. Then you got to go on the road to Alabama, another team that when they're at their best can compete with anybody in the country. Knocked off Clemson, knocked off Illinois, right? There's no easy basketball games. Now this one, as we said, top 2 players for LSU weren't here tonight, and Arkansas played their best basketball. They did what they should do against a limited LSU team.
Final 90 seconds with the backups in for the Razorbacks. That is Elmir Jovic, who they were trying to feed down low, the 7-foot Bosnian. Goes by EJ, which for a play-by-play guy is very convenient. I'm right there with you guys. I'm calling him EJ. Strong take and a couple of points for Mosley. And now LSU is going to get its backups in here.
This is not easy for Coach Matt McMahon. He was accustomed to winning 30-plus games at Murray State, went to the NCAA Tournament 3 times.
Yeah.
And remember, before those 2 guys go down, 12-1 in non-conference. They were top 15 in offensive efficiency coming into SEC play.
I had their opener at Texas A&M without DJ, and that was a 1-possession game. They had a chance to tie it late on a 3 that did not drop. They play hard, they play well, but tonight just overmatched. Under a minute to play. We started off the night on SEC Network with a big win for Vanderbilt over at the Neville Arena. And the 21st ranked Arkansas Razorbacks making a statement here tonight. Again, they do not have a bad loss all season long. Every loss they do have is a quad 1 loss. Final seconds will tick away. The Razorbacks will finish this one up with a 91-62 victory and improve to 18-6 overall, 8-3 in the SEC. They lead this one wire to wire. 40 minutes of really good basketball for Coach Cal and company. Happy birthday, John Calipari. What a way to celebrate it with a Razorback dub.
Yeah, he said, tell people to stop texting him, though. He knows it's his birthday. just joking. Hey, 420-point win in SEC play, right? Most since 1996-97. Excellent display by the Razorbacks.
That will do it for us for Damian Fishback and our entire